this road to the harbor. I don't want my music to be a museum piece, and I don't want my guitar to be a museum piece. But I know that with this particular guitar, and with any guitar that comes out of the Morgan family, that there's craftsmanship, artisanship that goes back hundreds, maybe 1,000 years. Y'all travel alone. Lord, I'm just a pilgrim on the side of the road.
A lot of guitar builders maybe have learned from a school, from a book. Maybe another guitar builder's helped them out a little. All guitar builders are pretty generous with their information, but nobody can really follow their history back to 1850. My guitar lineage goes back to Spain, to the birth of the modern classical guitar. And it started with the Ramirez family, Jose Ramirez I, who learned from another Spaniard. And he was the first guy to really start building a production of classical guitars. And he went on to teach another Spanish guy called Marcelo Barbero. And he taught a guy named Edgar Munch, who's a German fellow. And Edgar then immigrated to Toronto for a while, and where he met John Larrivee. And then John taught myself and many other Canadian guitar builders. Well, I started playing guitar probably when I was, I don't know, around 20, classical guitar. I got really into it, used to play hours and hours every day. At the same time, I started doing some woodworking. And one thing led to another. I decided I knew John Larrivee was living in Victoria. I approached him for a job, and I got into guitar construction almost, 28, 29 years ago. He was a world famous manufacturer, the only one in Canada. He was nearby. It was just an obvious for me.
There wasn't really a difference between him being a father and a teacher. It's sort of it was a package deal. Not only was I working with my father, but I was working with David Iannone, and he's always been he's a great mentor. He's a great friend. He's a funny guy. Great to be around with. We always have a good time.
I worked there for 7 years. I started sanding bodies. A simple job, well, relatively simple. There's no real simple jobs, but relatively simple, easy job to teach somebody. And I progressed from there to all the different processes. And the last couple of years I ran his acoustic guitar production while he was busy doing his electric guitars at the time. When I started designing my own line of guitars. I wanted to be my own guitar builder. And at the time, that's what John encouraged. We were apprentices at that time. He didn't expect anyone to really stay forever. But I just realized that it was time for me now to try to build my own guitars. At that time, my wife was pregnant with our first child, and his name was going to be Morgan. So it just seemed like a nice name for a guitar company. It was better than my surname, which people have a hard time pronouncing.
Spend all of my money. The person who built the guitar has really given his life to learning really specific and really sort of sometimes arcane skills to put the love that you can. It's a hands-on situation where you're not. There's so much more. It's so much more than the sum of its parts.
Well, there's lots of details, right? Inside the guitar, there's some interior construction that's somewhat different. But there's a lot of traditional stuff as well. For instance, there's a big X brace under the top, and that's a very traditional brace. It's a structural brace, and that I haven't really changed. And how you carve them, and how you select your woods, and how you thickness your woods, it's all kind of unique to an individual builder, and it changes over time as you become more familiar with the materials. I'm sure there's things that I'm doing today that they might have been doing a long time ago, but I'm sure a lot of things have changed too with modern tooling and modern technology and modern everything. But I think that the philosophy or the feeling for building a guitar, the passion, is the same as it was then. We're all still striving to do something as good as we absolutely can. We're all trying to get the best materials and to build the nicest guitars we can with the nicest fit, the nicest finish, the look, the tone. That hasn't changed.
There are just millions of guitars. There's all these manufacturers. Everybody's making guitars. And every time you pick up a copy of Guitar Player magazine or Vintage Guitar, there's a whole bunch of new guitar makers that you never heard of before. And obviously you can't play them all. But the thing I love so much about the Morgan is the fact that it's handmade. And it's made right here where I live. Tide on the river, the lightning on the Poncha train, the way you come to me at midnight, warm and naked as